The campus queen bee bullied me, threatening to kill me and chop me into pieces. She didn't know I'm the Ghost King's daughter. My sister is Kayako, my best friend is Churin-mei, and my childhood pal is Sadako. In the dorm room, Ashley, the most popular girl on campus, was using a pair of sharp scissors to draw on my face. I didn't fight back. I even let out a few almost crazed laughs. "What are you laughing at?" She pointed the scissors at my eye, the tip aimed straight for my eyeball. "I'm laughing at you. You're an idiot." As if I'd hit a nerve, Ashley's face darkened. She violently raised the scissors and stabbed down toward my eye. When the tip was less than an inch away, she froze, as if she'd seen something terrifying. Her face went ghost white. As her grip loosened, I tilted my head slightly, letting the scissors land safely beside my ear. "A ghost! There's a ghost!" Ashley's pupils contracted as she screamed in terror. I could even hear the uncontrollable tremor in her voice. Let me guess, was that my sister Kayako? Or my bestie Churin-mei? Or maybe my childhood pal Sadako? Ashley was already so scared she'd collapsed onto the floor. I straightened my clothes, wiped the blood from my face, and turned with a smirk to greet my good friends. 3 ferocious female ghosts were baring their teeth at Ashley, looking like they wouldn't rest until they had scared her to death. Well, damn. All 3 came at once. No wonder Ashley was so terrified she nearly crapped her pants. Seeing my smiling face, the 3 of them immediately swept the hair from their faces. "Nina, what did she do to your face?" Kayako, who had been crawling on the floor, was the first to spot the blood. She quickly scrambled over to me, stood up, and carefully examined the cuts. When she saw the word that had been carved, she flew into a rage. She grabbed Ashley's shoulder, her voice chilling and ethereal. "You dare carve words on our Nina's face? Then I'm going to do some engraving on yours." With that, Kayako prepared to slice into Ashley's face with her sharp knuckles. "Kayako." I grabbed her wrist. "Not so fast. I have a much better way to punish her." Kayako shot Ashley a vicious glare before releasing the hand clamped around her neck. I smiled at Ashley. "If you don't want to die, you'll do exactly as I say." That evening, Ashley's little clique summoned me to the gym, just like they always did, for their routine bullying session. Her group had 4 members, including her. Crestwood University's campus queen, Ashley. The daughter of Crestwood's dean of students, Jessica Adler. The son of Crestwood's real estate tycoon, Ryan Monroe. The daughter of Crestwood TV's famous anchor, Tiffany. As soon as I walked into the gym, Tiffany, holding a curling iron, shouted excitedly, "See? I told you she'd be here in under 5 minutes. Losers, pay up." Ryan hopped down from the ping-pong table, grabbed my chin and examined my face. "Nina's face. Which one of you carved this word on her?" "What word?" Jessica, who had been scrolling on her phone, looked up at me. "Oh, how fitting." Tiffany laughed too. "She's got bitch carved on the left. You should have carved slut on the right to make it symmetrical." Ryan let go of my chin and turned to curse at them. "Didn't I tell you? You can mess with her body all you want, but leave her face for me to look at. Who the hell carved this? I swear to God." "Not me," Tiffany shrugged. Ryan turned to Jessica. "Wasn't me either," she immediately denied. Then, all 3 of them turned to look at Ashley, who had been silent with her head down. "Ashley, don't tell me you were jealous of Nina's looks and deliberately ruined her face?" Tiffany teased, wrapping a strand of her own hair around the curling iron. Ashley finally looked up, her expression grim. Of course it was grim. Standing behind me were 3 malevolent ghosts that only she could see. Ashley's lips trembled uncontrollably. "I shouldn't have carved on Nina's face. I shouldn't have done something to hurt a fellow student. I want to apologize to Nina right now." She looked up at me, her eyes red. "Nina, I'm so sorry. Can you forgive me?" Tiffany was so shocked her jaw nearly hit the floor. "Ash, are you on something?" Jessica reached out and felt her forehead. "No fever. Why are you talking nonsense?" "Ashley, are you possessed or something?" Ryan added. The moment she heard the word possessed, Ashley completely lost it. She broke out in a cold sweat, her legs shaking violently. I smirked and had my good sister Churin-mei go over and steady her. "Whatever. If you're not feeling well today, Ashley, just take a break." My curling iron's getting a little hungry anyway. I'm gonna feed it some barbecue. With that, Tiffany raised the smoking hot curling iron, her face alight with vicious glee, and walked toward me step by step. Just as the iron was about to touch my arm, I curled my lips and raised an eyebrow at Ashley. Ashley immediately shot forward like a rabid dog, tackling Tiffany to the ground. In the chaos, the curling iron fell onto Tiffany's neck. A blood-curdling scream echoed through the gym. Ryan and Jessica, who had been enjoying the show, panicked and rushed over to help the injured Tiffany up. Ashley, what the hell is wrong with you? Tiffany, tears streaming from the pain, pointed the curling iron at Ashley and screamed. Ashley spread her arms to shield me and pleaded with her 3 friends. Can we please stop bullying Nina? Let's just apologize and ask her to forgive us. If she doesn't, we're all going to die. Jessica couldn't help but laugh. Her? An orphan? She's going to kill us if we don't apologize. Ashley, I think you've really lost your mind. It's true. Everything I'm saying is true. Nina can control ghosts. You can't see them yet, but I can. If you keep doing this, the ghosts will come for you too. Aren't we friends? Just listen to me this one time. Before Ashley could finish, Ryan kicked her hard in the stomach, sending her sprawling to the floor. He smirked sarcastically. Since Ashley wants to hang out with Nina so much, let's just kick her out of the group today. Jessica, post on the forum right now. Tell everyone we've picked our next plaything. It's Ashley. Make sure the title is trashy. Something like Campus Queen Falls from Grace. Ryan, how could you do this to me? Ashley clutched her stomach, tears streaming down her once pristine face. Ryan paused, then sneered. Haven't I told you I hate two-faced hypocrites who act all high and mighty? I've never met anyone more disgusting than you. After that, he took the injured Tiffany by the hand and left. Jessica gave me a long, hard look, then spat on the ground next to Ashley before leaving as well. In the vast, empty gym, it was just me and Ashley. And of course 3 ghosts. Sadako, are you ever going to turn on me like that? Churen Mei had already linked arms with Sadako and started chatting. Why didn't you ask me that question? Kayako forcefully flew between them, asking jealously. I took 2 steps forward and crouched down in front of Ashley. I didn't realize you had such a good heart, warning your friends like that. But what a shame. They didn't appreciate it. Doesn't feel so good to be the victim, does it? Luckily for you, I don't feel like killing you just yet. How about you team up with me to take down the other 3, and then I'll consider sparing your life. Ashley looked up, her tear-streaked face pitiful. If I help you, you really won't kill me? And you won't use these ghosts to scare me? I smiled without a word, extending a hand to pull her to her feet. After striking a deal with Ashley, I packed my things, moved out of the dorm, and moved into her house. Ashley's parents ran a company overseas and wired her millions of dollars every month to live by herself in Crestwood, a sprawling, 5,000 square foot penthouse. My 3 sisters were ecstatic. You know Jessica's dad is the dean of students, right? I asked, tossing my luggage aside and flopping onto the couch. Yeah, Ashley replied, standing beside me. In 2019, a junior girl jumped off a building right after leaving the dean's office. Have you ever heard about that? Ashley frowned. You weren't even enrolled here in 2019. How would you know about that? I looked up. You weren't enrolled either. How do you know about it? Ashley's eyes darted away for a second before she explained. Jessica once told us that her dad caused a female student's death in 2019 and made us swear to keep it a secret. We were talking about it in a group chat. The messages are on my old phone. I need to go find it. I nodded, signaling for her to go. As soon as Ashley left, Kayako draped herself over my shoulder. It seems that little ghost girl who refused Granny Meng's soup really was murdered. I hope after we get her justice, she can let go of her obsession and move on to the next life. My, when did our Kayako get so sentimental? I teased. Hey, I'm way more decent than these hypocritical humans. But Nina, aren't you going to get rid of the word on your face? I closed my eyes. Getting rid of it would be easy, but I still have a use for it, so I'll leave it for now. I dozed on the couch for I don't know how long, but Ashley still hadn't returned. Is it that hard to find? I murmured, glancing at the clock on the wall. I got up from the couch, planning to help her look for the old phone. The 5,000 square foot apartment was genuinely huge. I opened several doors, but saw no sign of Ashley. I walked all the way to the end of the hall and stood before the last door. This was the only room left. If Ashley wasn't in here, it meant she'd had a change of heart and run away. Click. Before I could even touch the handle, the door swung open on its own. The room was so dark it was creepy, as if it had no windows. But I'm the Ghost King's daughter. What's there to be afraid of? Ashley. The moment I spoke, my wrist was grabbed, and I was yanked forcefully into the room. In an instant, dozens of yellow talismans glowing with golden light flashed before my eyes. I was frozen in place. My 3 sisters, residing inside me, were thrown into chaos, crashing around within my body. With a loud bang, the door slammed shut. Ashley's voice, dripping with triumph, came from outside. So what if you can control ghosts? This is a trapping spell set up just for you by a master spiritualist I hired. Nina, do you have any idea how hard it's been for me to pretend these last few days? Today, I'm going to make you and your pet ghosts have your souls scattered to the 4 winds. Well, a leopard can't change its spots. But did she really think a mere spiritualist trap could hold me? How naive. I gathered the last of my ghostly energy into the black jade ring hanging around my neck. Stone of the underworld, grant me the power to break this seal. In an instant, the black jade was enveloped in dense, dark energy. The energy coalesced into skeletal hands that tore the floating talismans to shreds, one by one. Once the talismans were destroyed, the spell was broken. I quickly walked out of the room. Nina, what just happened? Nina, I haven't fought anyone since returning to the spirit world. My skills have definitely gotten rusty. I couldn't even manifest. Nina, was that a trap set by that bitch? I'm going to go grab her and teach her a lesson right now. My 3 sisters appeared, chattering excitedly. I took a deep breath and looked around. Ashley's scent was gone. She had run. This was her home. No matter how far she ran, she'd have to come back eventually, right? Although the spell was broken, it had drained some of my energy. I'll rest tonight and deal with this tomorrow. The next day, I was shaken awake by Sadako. Nina, wake up. Something terrible has happened. I rubbed my sleepy eyes. Could anything be more important than my sleep? Sadako was crouching by my bed, her long hair hanging in front of her face. It was admittedly a little creepy. I reached out and tucked her hair behind her ear. Sadako, sweetie, tell me, what's the big emergency? Are you out of spirit money? Didn't I tell you? Just use my card. She shook her head frantically. No. You know how I got into some trouble in the underworld recently? I was assigned to work on the road to the underworld for a couple of days, helping out Granny Meng. Last night on the road, I saw Ashley. What? I shot up in bed, nearly fainting from the shock. You must have seen wrong. How could a living person be on the road to the underworld? She's dead. Sadako looked at me, her face deadly serious. Really dead? You didn't let her drink Granny Meng's soup, did you? No, I made up an excuse and brought her back with me. She's at my place now. She must have picked up some of our ghostly aura, so she won't forget her earthly life so quickly. Let's go. To your place. In the spirit world, the 4 of us sat around Ashley. I rested my forehead in my hand. Why did you run? Now look at you. You've run straight to my house as a guest. Ashley trembled. It was horrible. Jessica's family is horrible. Are you saying Jessica killed you? Where did she kill you? I'll have Churen Mei find your body. Ashley dropped to her knees with a thud and grabbed my pant leg. If you find my body, can I be resurrected? I couldn't help but laugh. What do you think this place is? Resurrection. Work for 100 years in the spirit world, and someone will arrange for you to be reincarnated. I have to work. I shrugged. What else? Then. Cut the crap. Just tell us what happened, Kayako said, crossing her arms impatiently. Last night, I thought you were dead for sure, so I ran to Jessica's house. You know, I used to be the favorite of the group. I couldn't accept becoming their new plaything. So I told her you were investigating her father for causing that student's death years ago. I wanted her to know I was on their side. But Ashley sobbed. Jessica's father was standing outside the door and overheard me. She stared blankly ahead, her eyes unfocused. All I remember is a kitchen knife coming down on my head. Pain. It hurt so much, Ashley murmured, dazed. What about Jessica? She didn't try to stop him? It was murder, Chu Renmei asked. Ashley looked up, 2 streams of tears on her face. Jessica left, and she closed the door. Truly heartless, Kayako sighed. I sighed lightly. I told you to team up with us, but you had to go find some pathetic spiritualist to set a trap for me. And look where it got you. You got yourself killed this quickly. I thought for a second, then looked at Chu Renmei. May have your little minions find Ashley's body. You got it, Nina. Ashley told me where the phone with the chat logs was. I found an old iPhone in a dusty box under the bed. Luckily, it wasn't broken and still charged. But I couldn't log into Ashley's WhatsApp. Her current phone was probably still at Jessica's house, and I needed a trusted device for verification. So, I went to find Jessica at school. During gym class, I leaned in close to her ear. Jessica, Ashley's dead. Did you know? She remained relatively calm, frowning as she warned me. Nina, watch what you say. Are you crazy? Your dad killed her. I saw it with my own eyes. That sent Jessica into a state of shock. Just then, a strong gust of wind swept across the field, blowing her bangs up off her forehead. It turned out Jessica had a flat, oddly shaped forehead. The wind had picked up, and it was exposing all her flaws. Of course, it wasn't just the wind, and it wasn't just flaws being exposed. The howling wind whistling past my ears made my words sound even more chilling. Jessica, your dad dismembered Ashley, didn't he? I've already found all the body parts. Tonight, you bring your dad and Ashley's phone to her apartment to see me. The Summit, Building A, Suite 1801. No one would file a missing persons report for Ashley, because Sadako had seen a withdrawal application in the desk drawer of Dean Adler, Jessica's father. And Jessica had Ashley's phone. Ashley's parents lived abroad permanently, where they'd had 2 more children. Besides wiring her money on time, they had little contact. Most importantly, Dean Adler had thrown Ashley's body into a septic tank. After 3 to 5 years of hiding it, no one would remember Ashley. Of course I would, because I was the one she used to bully. That night, I sat on the couch, staring at the 5 burlap sacks in front of me. When are those 2 getting here? The smell is killing me. May. You couldn't have your minions rinse this stuff off before bringing it over? Rinse it off? Why don't you ask me to boil them first while you're at it? Boil them? Are you trying to get yourself killed? Just as my 3 good sisters were about to start another heated argument, the doorbell rang. Dean Adler stood at the door, with Jessica behind him. His eyes were fierce as he walked into the apartment without a word. Cough. Cough, cough. What's that horrible smell in here? Jessica closed the door, coughing and waving her hand in front of her face. What else could it be? The body your father threw in the septic tank, I replied. Dean Adler glanced at the 5 sacks on the floor, dripping with sewage. His eyes flickered. Who are you? To be able to retrieve a body so completely overnight, without a sound. I changed the subject. Let's not talk about me. How about we talk about the suicide case from 2019? Dean Adler let out a contemptuous laugh. Sarah's death had nothing to do with me. I scoffed. That's a hard story to believe. Dean Adler started to negotiate. I can tell you whatever you want to know, as long as you hand over Ashley's body for me to dispose of. I sank deeper into the couch. Then talk. Tell me everything you know about Sarah. Sarah was a student of mine. She was brilliant, top of her class, always on a scholarship. But around that time, she kept asking for leave. She seemed completely lifeless. After asking her several times, I learned she was heartbroken over a breakup. So, as her professor, I was trying to counsel her. Perhaps that day, she just couldn't see a way out and jumped from the building. A young life was lost just like that. I was deeply saddened. That's what happened. After an investigation, Sarah's death was ruled a suicide. After he finished, Dean Adler looked at me, waiting for me to speak. I ignored him, my gaze shifting past him to Jessica. Did you bring the phone I asked for? Jessica handed me Ashley's phone. I took it and began logging into Ashley's WhatsApp on the old device. I was so focused on the two phones that I didn't notice the danger approaching me. It wasn't until Kayako flashed in front of me, catching the dagger Dean Adler had aimed at my chest with her bare hands, that I realized he was trying to kill me. What kind of secret was he hiding that would make him willing to kill two people? When Kayako appeared, Dean Adler was so terrified his soul nearly left his body. Jessica's eyes were wide with shock, her hands clamped over her mouth. Is she really that scary? Sadako floated over to her side and asked softly. Yes. Terrifying. Jessica turned her head and met Sadako's eyes. Holy shit. There's another one. Ashley warned you not to mess with me. But none of you would listen, would you? I chuckled, my ethereal voice echoing through the room. Chu Renmei appeared behind Dean Adler and kicked him hard in the ass. You bastard. You dare try to ambush our Nina? You got a death wish. I carefully read the chat logs on Ashley's phone. The information wasn't that significant, it seemed more like bragging and joking around. The messages were from 3 years ago, when they first started at Crestwood University. Back then Ryan, the real estate tycoon's son, started a clique he called the Fabulous Four, our little group of bullies. He made a huge deal out of it, offering a brand new phone to anyone who signed up. Pretty much the whole school applied. He made everyone submit applications, held auditions, semifinals, and a final round, ultimately picking 3 people. Jessica's message in the final round group chat was, "My dad killed someone once. You probably heard about that girl who jumped off a building in 2019, right? My dad drove her to it." That was it. Just one sentence. It was impossible to tell if it was true or just a joke. How could that have made Dean Adler kill Ashley? I picked up the dagger Dean Adler had dropped and pressed it to his throat. The chat logs on Ashley's phone don't have any real evidence. Why were you so impulsive as to kill her over it? By now he understood the situation. He knew he was no match for me and began to beg for mercy. I'll tell you everything. But you have to promise me that Jessica will be safe. She knew nothing about this. You can have my life. I don't know if you're human or a ghost, but I'm begging you, please spare my daughter, okay? Cut the crap. Sarah was a broadcasting and communications major. She was doing an off-campus internship with Jenna. Who's Jenna? I asked. Jenna is Tiffany's mother. The whole thing had nothing to do with my dad. I only said that back then to get in with Ryan, so I wouldn't get bullied at school. Jessica blurted out, biting her lip, her face full of grievance. Dean Adler snapped, Jessica, you don't know anything about this. Stop interrupting. What a touching father-daughter scene. But I didn't have time to watch their act. Keep talking. I commanded. Jenna isn't just a TV host, she also runs an arts prep school. Before she got married, Jenna was a high-class escort. One of her sugar daddies was Mr. Monroe. I said, I know him. The real estate tycoon. Ryan's father. Yes. I don't know the specific details. According to Sarah, Jenna pimped her out to Mr. Monroe. Because I was not only her advisor but also the dean of students, Sarah came to me for help many times. I thought about helping her, but one day Mr. Monroe called me. He said if I wanted to keep my job in Crestwood, I needed to keep my mouth shut. I have severe bipolar disorder. I don't know where he got my medical records, but if the university found out I had a mental illness, they would fire me. I've been teaching for years and worked my way up to dean. I couldn't let all those years of hard work be destroyed for some stranger. So when Sarah came to me again, I played dumb. I really didn't expect her to jump right after leaving my office. Mr. Monroe said he would take care of it and told me not to be afraid. Afterward, Sarah's death was officially ruled a suicide. As for Ashley, I was having an episode last night. I lost my mind. I didn't mean to kill her. If we go by Dean Adler's account, the whole story is pretty clear now. But he certainly painted himself in a very innocent light. I took his phone from his suit jacket pocket. Make a call. Get Mr. Monroe here. I want to hear his version. Dean Adler frowned. Mr. Monroe is a very busy man. You think one phone call from me is going to bring him here? Besides, this is just my word against his. You have no evidence. How can you convict him? Don't worry about that. If you can't get Mr. Monroe, then get Ryan. I raised an eyebrow and looked at Jessica. I thought for another moment. How about this? You call Tiffany here first. It shouldn't be too hard for Tiffany to get Ryan to come, right? The other day at the gym, they left holding hands. I could tell something was going on between them. Jessica obediently picked up her phone and called Tiffany. Half an hour later, Tiffany arrived. The moment she walked in the door, she was apprehended by Chu Ren-mei and Sadako. If I hadn't pinched a pressure point under her nose to keep her from passing out, she would have fainted on the spot. She looked at Jessica in disbelief. You. I shot her a look. Cut the crap. Call Ryan and get him over here. Another half an hour later, Ryan arrived. Please have a seat. I had Kayako help him to a chair. While waiting for Ryan, I had already arranged their seating. 7 chairs in total, 1 for each person. On one of the chairs sat the 5 sacks containing Ashley's body parts. 4 people were seated now, with 2 more to go. Why not just get everyone here at once? A big reunion to see whose sins are the heaviest. Hearing that their son and daughter had been kidnapped, Mr. Monroe and Jenna arrived in less than 15 minutes. Now that everyone was here, it was my turn to perform. I pressed a button on the remote, turning on the TV. The screen showed a live feed from the security cameras of the nearest police station. So which of you 3 wants to turn themselves in first? Whoever goes first gets to have their child go home. I waited a long time after I spoke, but they all just sat there with their heads down, not moving. Fine. My eyes scanned the room and finally landed on Ryan. May. Bring in the prop. You got it, Nina. A white silk rope descended from the ceiling. Chu Ren-mei smiled at Ryan and untied the ropes binding him to the chair. With a gentle tug, she and Ryan were suspended in midair, the silk rope perfectly positioned under his chin. Chu Ren-mei let go, and Ryan immediately dropped with gravity. The silk rope tightened around his throat, and his face turned beet red. Mr. Monroe panicked. Let him down. I'll go. I'll turn myself in. He's my only son. If he dies, I'll haunt you even as a ghost. Haunt me as a ghost? Does he think I'll be afraid of him when he's dead? Kayako, let him down. Escort him to the police station. If he tries to run, bring him right back. You got it, Nina. Mr. Monroe walked out the front door of Ashley's apartment, a ghost floating right behind him. 10 minutes later, his figure appeared on the security camera feed. The following is Mr. Monroe's confession. In early 2019, I saw Sarah at Jenna's prep school. Her innocent, vibrant face. I saw it once and couldn't forget it. I was there to see Jenna. But that night with her, my mind was filled with the image of that young intern. I suggested to Jenna that she go and counsel Sarah. Sarah refused, so I bought some goodies from my contacts and had Jenna find an excuse to bring her over. Afterward, I told her she wouldn't have to look for a job after graduation. As long as she stayed by my side, I could send her abroad for further studies and guarantee her a life of luxury. But Sarah was too proud. She refused. She threatened to kill herself. I, Mr. Monroe, have been in Crestwood for so many years, with so many people under my thumb. You think I'm afraid of one little life? With a wave of my hand, someone else would do the time for me. Sarah saw her professor as her last hope. Did she really think everyone standing on that podium was a saint? I had Dean Adler's medical records checked and immediately found a problem. A dean of students with a severe mental illness. If he wanted to keep his position, he had to do my bidding. I told him to humiliate Sarah, to deliberately guide her toward suicide. If I couldn't tame her after all that time, then she might as well be dead. After all, there will always be more young, beautiful female students. Officer, that is the whole story. Every word I've said is true. You can sentence me now. So you've hidden this so well for all these years. Why turn yourself in now? Faced with such a powerful man turning himself in, the police officer was genuinely confused. Mr. Monroe shook his head and chuckled. Let's just say I saw a ghost. Mr. Monroe was taken into custody, and his figure disappeared from the screen. I raised an eyebrow and looked at Dean Adler. It seemed he had been holding back. He wasn't as innocent as he claimed. "You're next," I said, pointing at him. Dean Adler was pale and expressionless. He lowered his head and started walking toward the door. "You seem to have forgotten something," I called out to him. He turned back, looked at me first, and then turned to Jessica with a look of joyful surprise. "What are you thinking?" I pointed to the 5 burlap sacks. "I meant you should take Ashley with you." Dean Adler froze for a moment. Then his face turned ashen as he walked toward the chair holding Ashley's remains. His crime was even greater than Mr. Monroe's and Jenna's. He had 2 lives on his hands. When Dean Adler walked into the police station, the stench was so bad it made every officer gag. "What are you carrying?" a police officer demanded, quickly putting on a gas mask. "A body. I'm here to turn myself in." "What's your name?" "Dean Adler." "Dean Adler?" The officer looked at the emergency arrest warrant in his hand, then back at Dean Adler's face. "It really is Dean Adler." After Dean Adler left, Jenna followed. Legally, her crime was the lightest, but she was the most detestable. If she hadn't acted as the go-between, if she, as a fellow woman, hadn't stood by and done nothing, would Sarah have chosen to end her life in her prime? "They've all gone to confess. Can you let us go now?" Tiffany's eyes were fearful, her voice trembling. "What do you think, Tiffany? Their repentance is done. What about yours?" I leaned in closer, pointed to the left side of my face, and winked at her. "Tiffany, what was that word you said I should carve here last time?" Tiffany lowered her head, not daring to look at me. I had Sadako untie them and threw their phones back at them. "Each of you will write a confession letter and post it on the school forum. Write down every act of bullying you've committed over the past 3 years, without leaving out a single detail. No less than 10,000 words, okay? After we finish writing, can we go?" "Depends on my mood." With most of the matter resolved, I had Chu Renmei and Kayako watch the 3 of them while Sadako and I returned to the spirit world. Granny Meng told us that Sarah had just drunk the soup of forgetfulness and moved on. What a pity. I hadn't had a chance to ask her what she wanted to be in her next life. I could have secretly pulled some strings for her. Granny Meng sighed softly. "I asked that question for you. Sarah said that as long as she doesn't become a bad person like them, she's willing to be anything." Hearing that, I suddenly felt a warmth in my chest. But I'm a ghost. I'm not supposed to have a heart. We went to Sadako's place. The moment Ashley saw me, she started to cry. "I died a wrongful death too. Can't you resurrect me?" "I shouldn't have died. It's all because you showed up and changed the course of my life. You indirectly killed me. If it weren't for you, I'd still be alive and well." I nodded in complete agreement. "That's true. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't be the one who's dead. You'd probably still be out there bullying someone else, right? Take a good look at my face. Look at this word, bitch. Whose face were you originally planning to carve it on?" Ashley's crying stopped abruptly, and she fell into deep thought. "That person in the dorm room before, it wasn't you. Her name, I think it was Chloe. Remember now? If I hadn't possessed Chloe's body in time, she would have been dead in that dorm room long ago." "So Ashley, tell me, was your death really so unjust?" "Ashley, the spirit world needs talent like you. Others work here for 100 years before moving on. You can just stay here and serve forever. After all, someone like you deserves to live in hell for all eternity." After Ryan, Tiffany, and Jessica finished their confession letters, I reviewed them carefully and made them post them. "Can we go now?" Tiffany asked again. "Nope. Ashley's hell was below. Theirs was right here." Using the information from their confessions, I contacted their victims and their victims' families. I told them the bullies were here, and they were welcome to come and get their revenge anytime within the next month. They had bullied so many people. Ashley's apartment became a revolving door of visitors, with people coming and going non-stop. Before leaving this body, I gently raised my hand and brushed it across my right cheek. The hideous carved word vanished instantly. "Chloe, it's a good thing I got here before the word was carved. Otherwise, that would have been a real shame for you." The Summit, Building A, Suite 1801. A girl in a Crestwood High uniform stood outside Ashley's apartment, watching motionless. Chloe, aren't you going to get your revenge? A boy wearing glasses who was punching Ryan turned and shouted toward the door. No. She adjusted her collar and turned to leave. Chloe walked out of the residential complex and looked up at the sky. For the first time, she felt the sky was so blue. No, it was after Nina came that her world began to fill with color. And those 3 cute little ghosts who were always with Nina. The time Nina occupied her body was the happiest she had been in years. But now that Nina was gone, it was goodbye forever. Will we ever meet again? Chloe whispered. Suddenly, a line of text floated before her eyes. If fate allows, we will meet again.